Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. In this video I wanted to show you what I think is the best setup in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. I've been playing for almost 20 hours now. Yeah, I'm playing a little bit too much. And I think after this time I figured out what at least I think is the best loadout. And I've also seen that a lot of other people who are at the top of the scoreboard use a very similar loadout to this. With this setup, I've been able to get around 5,000 points in just under 1 or 2 minutes, which means that you can get the hero extremely fast. And that is just one of the perks of using something that is as good as this. So the base of this loadout is of course the Specialist. I think most of you who have played realize that the Specialist is one of the strongest classes in this beta. And a big reason to that is the infiltration ability, which brings back the EE4. A weapon I think a lot of us hoped would not be as OP as in the last game, but it turns out we were wrong. It's actually really effective. But that's just part of the loadout I'm using, although the actual EE4 ability with the infiltration can be extremely good if you get into a good flow when you can get upwards to 10 or 15 enemies in a row. I also use my main weapon to get a lot of my kills, and I'm using the A280 CFE, which is the second sniper available for the Specialist, and you get it in the starter pack, so you just need to play for around 10 minutes with the class to unlock it. But I've also purchased the burst mod for it, and that is what makes it so good. Before I got that mod I actually preferred the first sniper, the Valken, but now that I have the burst mod, I think this weapon is fantastic. Not only is it really good for range like always, but it's also very effective on short range as well. It kind of makes it into an EE3 almost, but with even better range. I do actually have a second attachment to the gun as well, which is the dual zoom. This one isn't as important for making the weapon as good as possible, but it does help out a lot, especially at the start of Theed when you spawn very far away from each other, and I can actually use that extra dual scope to see them a lot better and therefore get some extra kills. But the main thing is definitely the burst attachment, and it costs 100 crafting parts, so it's not that expensive, and if you haven't bought a bunch of cards by now, you should probably have enough parts to buy it yourself. So what star cards am I using? I recently hit star card level 10 on my Specialist, meaning that I can have 3 different star cards. And I'm using the resourceful card, which just gives me a little bit faster recharge times, stealth, which makes me hidden on scanners when firing and deal increased melee damage, and the infiltration scrambler, which I think is the most important card, which makes my already OP EE4 ability mark enemies on the map and scramble enemy radars. This is really important because right now when I pop my infiltration, I instantly can see where all the enemies are on the map, which makes it even easier to kill them because I can predict when they come around the corner and I burst them once in the head with the EE4 and they are dead. Or well, that of course depends on the class I'm facing off against, but I think you get the point. And there are some other viable star cards, such as the Stinger pistol. It's actually pretty good in this game, but I like the shock grenade to lock people down, so I kept that. And the thermal binoculars, I have to be honest, I don't use very often. They can be pretty good to see through the walls, but I don't really feel like I need that, because if I'm sniping, well, I can fairly easily just see them with my eyes. And if I'm using the EE4, well, I get them marked on the map anyway, so it's kind of overkill to use the thermal binoculars on top of that. So I'd say the reason to why the Specialist is so good, especially with this loadout, is that not only do I have the infiltration ability, which is really good just with the base ability and no cards at all, but since I do have such a good main weapon, it means that whenever that's on cooldown, I can still kill a lot of people, like you can see in this clip. I think I take out like 4 enemies in a matter of seconds with simply my main weapon. And sometimes I think it might actually kill people faster than the EE4 if you shoot them in the head. But it's of course a little bit trickier, and it does overheat fairly quick as well. And if there is 2 things you should spend your crafting parts on, I would say get the burst mod for the A280 CFE and get the infiltration scrambler ability so that you can see enemies on the map when you are using the EE4 ability. So, do I think this will be nerfed for the full game? Yes, I guarantee you that the infiltration ability will be nerfed. The burst rifle, not sure, because that alone is not something that's ridiculously OP, because it overheats and you need to actually buy an attachment and so on. But the EE4 ability, it just needs to be nerfed. Especially considering that it refreshes every time you kill someone and it has no overheat at all. So I think if they made it limited so it only lasts for like 5 seconds, and it can overheat as well, then it would be fine, because that means you will only be able to pop it in like emergencies to get yourself out of a sticky situation, but you can't just rush in and get 15 people in a row with it. So I'd love to hear, what is your favorite loadouts in the beta right now? Do you have any awesome combo with any of the other classes that you think is working really well? Feel free to let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.